Live. How's it going tonight, everybody? Uh, hey, sorry about this one. I didn't put out a posting. Um, just like last week was kind of busy, where it was sort of last minute. Didn't really know what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, all that fun stuff. We ended up doing it live from the couch at Travis's place, and my mic was muted. All right, let's start again. So let's do a take two, so I know where to cut this when I edit it later. All right. So this week, kind of like last week, I didn't have a lot of advance notice on what I was going to do because I wasn't sure what I was going to do, when I was going to do it, how I was going to do it, all that fun stuff. Last week, we went live from the couch at Travis's place. Like I said, I was at his place to go through the Tony Robbins event. And so we did that over the weekend. It was 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and long days, very long days. Was fantastic. As you can tell, I don't have much of a voice left. Still don't from then, because it's one thing with them is they're very high energy events. That's one thing that Tony does, is he really has a lot of good hype in what he does, creating energy around them. So and like I've mentioned, a few of us from my group here, we're going to go down to Tony Live in November in Dallas, which there are still tickets available. And if it's something you're thinking about doing, like I said, we're going to be there. So, we can certainly hook up and get together, have a meetup down there. And was kind of a couple things we discussed while I was down there at Travis's, and the little bit of time we had that we weren't busy doing other stuff. So just kind of go over what I saw there, what I learned, what I'm expecting to get out of and learn from the live event. The one thing I will say is I'm glad that thankful, first of all. I want to extend a massively huge thank you to Travis for inviting me out to his place and joining him for that. Even though it was a virtual event, going through it with somebody else certainly added to the experience because you weren't doing it alone. You had other people there. You could feed off of their energy. They could feed off of your energy. And it's quite the process. It involves some emotional, and you're going to have some breakthroughs. And I did. I had quite a few breakthroughs. Some of the stuff was things I'd already known and dealt with the trauma and stuff I've gone through in the past. But there was sort of a deeper level, or a little more extended than the stuff that I had learned. Slightly different way of doing some of the things, and most of it was completely new. So it was very good. A lot was learned. Try to think, and like I say, as you can tell, I don't have much of a voice left because we were screaming quite a bit. So if you are considering going to the live event, a couple things I'll say is bring throat lozenges because your throat's going to get sore. Bring lots of water because you're going to drink it. You're going to need to drink it. Maybe want to bring something like some BCAAs or something like that to add into your water to sort of help feed that energy and keep you from cramping up and stuff, because you're high energy. You're going to be moving constantly. It's the vibe of the whole thing. You're going to be pumped up, and you're going to go through some stuff. So, it's difficult to stay completely hydrated when you're exerting that kind of information or that kind of energy doing it. So, as an example, the first day on Thursday, my Fitbit that I wear all the time, take that back a little bit, I wear all the time, I had over 14,000 steps and never left the room that we were in, other than walking, out of Travis's place into the car and into the building that we were in, and vice versa on the way back home. So you're going to move a lot. Now there is some sitting time, taking notes. So, if you are thinking of attending one of these events, make sure you bring pens that are good writing, and a spiral bound notebook or something where you can quickly flip through and go. You do get a workbook to go through, and there's a lot of stuff in there. Put notes in there, but there are going to be times you're going to run out of room. I know I did. And I'm not a very good or fast writer, so that's probably part of it. Writing big and messy and blah, blah, blah. But to get down to it, so I'm going to drop the comment, or the join comment in here. So if anybody wants to come in, because I don't have anything really prepared. I kind of thought I wanted to sort of fly by the seat of my pants on this one and sort of go with what I went and what I learned while I was there. And sort of give my live recollection of how things were. Um, so it kind of starts off the first day, um, setting the foundation, really helping you break down where you are. And there's also a psychology part to it, helping you understand other people, which I've studied a lot. And there was still stuff I learned there. Like I've read it, like most of my books here on my shelf are psychology books or self-help books. So, I've gone through an awful lot of that in my life to recover from the shit that I've gone through in my past. And there was still a lot to absorb and a lot that I learned. Understanding, what it essentially is. You can break it down to the 6 basic needs that people have, and how to figure out what their order is. And when you do this, when you learn this, you understand how they think, which allows you to communicate better with them because you can speak their language, so to speak. You can speak to them in a way that they're going to really get a hold of and really understand. So it's going to help you with your communication and everything in your personal life, with your family, with your relationship, whether it be your girlfriend, wife, whatever it is, multiple girlfriends, whatever you choose to do, and business, coworkers, and even just general situations. I actually had a situation the very night I got back that I actually used some of these skills in. I got back and a friend of mine picked me up from the airport, and we went to the kennel and picked up my dog that I left while I was at the kennel while I was down there. And on the way back to drop my friend off, we stopped to have something to eat. And as we were walking from the vehicle back into the restaurant, the waitress came out chasing down a guy, yelling at him, and he wasn't really paying attention. And, he was clearly hammered out of his brain. And, so it got his attention that, hey, she's trying to get a hold of you. She's trying to get your attention. And he stopped, turned around. Well, it turned out he was so drunk, he'd walked out without paying his bill. So he pulled the cash out. He paid her out there in the parking lot. And then he starts walking away. And I watched him reach into his pocket. And the waitress had her back turned, so she didn't see this. And he pulled out a set of keys. And I said, he's planning to drive. We can't let him do that. He is way too drunk. I could tell from the 50 feet away that I was standing just watching to make sure that, this was a big guy. Wasn't necessarily tall, but he was definitely very big and stocky. And she was a small little tiny thing. So I stood there just to watch, just to make sure that everything would be okay, because he could have very easily hurt her. So I sort of did my good part and stood there and watched. And when I realized he had his keys and he was going to drive, I got her attention. I said, this guy's going to drive. Do you guys have a policy where if patrons are too drunk, you'll put them in a cab or something like that? We can't allow this. She said, yes, we do. So we went, it was her job. So she went and approached him and talked to him. He got a little belligerent with her, telling her off, as a, big drunk guy probably would when a little girl is trying to tell him what to do and that he shouldn't be doing something. And in his mind, he doesn't give a shit. He's going to do what he wants to do. Who are you to tell me that? So I stepped forward because I didn't like the way he was getting aggressive with her. And just by listening to him talk to her and the way he talked to her, kind of broke down where he's at. And I was able to speak to him quite clearly and got into his head. I could tell it. And he was angry about this because, no matter what he said, I was able to carry the conversation. I was able to speak to him. I could tell where he was driving at, even though he was trying to speak from over here. I could tell it was these things right here that were actually bothering him. These are the things that were actually on his mind. And this knowledge that I gained over the weekend, I'm not an expert at it, but it was an opportunity to exercise this and try it. And I did. And, talked him down a lot. It was quite a while. The cab finally showed up and he wasn't going to leave. He had his vehicle running with the command start and everything like that. He was ready to go. And we finally convinced him. And he finally, acquiesced. He ended up getting out of the cab, getting in the vehicle and leaving. But we got him that far, which he wasn't at that place in the first place. So there was progress. Could I have done better? Maybe. Would I have been able to do this before that? No, probably not. I probably would have been a prick. I'm pretty good at it. And he didn't threaten me in any way, shape, or form. He tried to intimidate me. I just laughed at him. He kept saying, well, I'll put you in the cab. Go ahead, step forward. It'll be more painful than getting in the cab, but at least you're not going to get arrested and go to jail. I might, but you're not. You're going to wake up with no teeth. So anyhow, I wish. So it ended up, while I was having something to eat, another part of the story, which isn't really important, the police did come and take statements because they actually did catch him. Because when we saw him get into his vehicle and leave anyways, she called the police because that's her job. It's her due diligence. She had to do that. So he was caught. He was busted. But, we tried to save him this. And, like I said, I would have never known how to talk to him before this, and I'm not saying I did it perfectly, but I certainly did it better than I could have before. So, there's definitely a lot of benefit to this. And if you're a guy who is, let's say, planning to get ahead in life, if you're a guy who owns a business, planning to open a business, entrepreneurship was a term that I learned. It was down there. I've heard it said in other different ways. But basically what that is somebody who is highly motivated, makes themselves valuable, and basically makes it so that the company can't afford to get rid of them. They become irreplaceable to the company. So you sort of take some ownership in the company you're working for, which then you can massively accelerate and negotiate for much more of an income and enjoy your life much better. But you don't have the risk of being an entrepreneur, and you have the reassurance of income from the business, and you help them grow. You make yourself irreplaceable, all of these things. So that was great term that I heard, entrepreneurship. I'm going to write that one down and try and remember that. So, but with that, if you're looking to get ahead, most of the people who are at these events are either business owners or planning to be business owners. And some of them at insanely high levels. And there's no other way to put it. And they're all open to talking to you. This is a very, very large network, which I speak about networking all the time. Take your opportunities to network, join your chambers of commerce, join your community like mine, where you can learn from like-minded people, find ways to, increase your business, maximize your business, make your business work for you rather than you working for your business, stuff like that. These guys do it at an even higher level, and they're all willing to work with you and help you share knowledge and help you get places. So, they're not a cheap event. There's no two ways about it. I think the tickets are like $1,000 just for the ticket to the event in November. And then there's more stuff beyond that you may want to take. So actually Travis and I we're going to challenge each other. We have a challenge for November of meeting a certain goal. And we're both going to take some additional courses that I wouldn't have known about had I have not gone through this virtual event with him. So like I said, once again, I can't begin to thank him enough for what he gave me with this. And the things I can see that it would do for other people that I know in my life, that, this would be a huge benefit for them. And I hope I'm going to try and encourage them strongly to take this step and move forward, but which kind of ties into some of my stuff with what I do. I call my channel Embrace Masculinity. I'm all about, grabbing a hold of yourself, taking accountability, becoming the best version of yourself, which is largely what this stuff is. So I encourage people to do that. And we're going to start pushing my community and my channel more into that sort of a direction, definitely more into a business-minded direction, a self-improvement at a higher level. If you join my community going forward, there is going to be a level of expectation. That was something that we learned. Is don't join a group that is just your friends. Join a group that is also your peers and wants to see you do well and will hold you to higher expectations, because, we all have our own expectations and we do our best to meet them. But when you're around people who have a higher level of expectation and they hold you to that and they push you to that, and the bonus is they also know how to get there and will help you get there and push you to get there, it all of a sudden you now have not taken a step up. You've taken a giant leap forward. So I encourage anybody who's considering this to do it. And there's more than just Tony, of course. There's other stuff. If you don't have the money to, go to a big event like that, you can join our community, because Travis and I are in this and we're going to take the next level in it as well. So you join my community and you hang out with us, you're putting yourself around people who are going to hold you to a higher level. We're going to hold you to higher expectations. And we're going to be willing to help you. That's kind of the greatest part of it. It's like things I've said before. Anytime you're in a position where you're doing well or you're in something and you become successful, people are going to watch what you do and how you do it, and they're going to want advice. And nobody gets to the top by themselves. You do it because you're surrounded by people. And I'm going to break this one right down by using Tony Robbins. Is everybody knows who he is pretty much. I mean, he's beyond the point of famous, almost to the point of infamous. Everybody knows who he is as a motivational speaker, but he's actually so much more. And Tony will admit this, and he tells us, like, how he's gotten to where he is isn't because of himself, but it's because of the people he surrounds himself with. And because he surrounds himself with these people who are doing certain aspects and areas of their life at very high levels, and they hold him to those expectations, that he has gotten better and he's absorbed all of this knowledge and he's put it to use. He's chosen to put it to use in the arena of helping others in a way that attracts a lot of attention, which makes him famous. But there are people who do the same sorts of things who aren't looking to become billboard famous, but they still do these sorts of things. And these are the kinds of people, that's the kind of person I am. I don't ever want to be that famous. I wouldn't want to deal with the crap that he has to deal with. Would the money be nice? Sure, be fabulous. Once again, would the responsibility be nice or be worth it? I'm not sure if I want that much. I don't really have that much to leave it to. But like another friend of mine says, there's nothing wrong with making large amounts of money, because when you have money, you can change the world, which is my mission, is to make money, because I don't have anybody to leave it to. So I am going to build what I build to leave my legacy of a place to help men, which is my cause and my calling. I've said it at a very low level before, but one thing, excuse me, that I learned with all of this is my calling, and this is what I intend to do. And I'm not going to be ashamed from it, and I'm not going to hide from it. My whole thing is, literally, like the stuff I've talked about before with men's mental health and the mental health, the differences. Like, men take their lives at a rate of 4-to-1 to women and stuff like this. But meanwhile, we have 10% of the facilities dedicated just to us to help with stuff like that. That's my calling. That's what I want to help with, because I've been there, I've done that, I've gone through that stuff, and I never want to see anybody go through it again. If I can do anything to stop one person from doing it, I've accomplished a goal. If I can do more, that much better. So that's the entire reason that I intend to build a legacy. And I hope you guys would be happy to come along and help me do that, because that's what I'm all about. And that's what we should all be about, helping each other out and raising each other up. So once again, like I say, this is my calling. That's where I'm going. That's my direction. And as I've said, with my group and community, it's a part of what it is. You join that. We've had some people in it who've gone through some extremely hard times, very difficult places emotionally, difficult thoughts and whatnot. And I spent hours on the phone with them, like absolutely hours. And I expect nothing for it, because I've been there, done that, went through it. I know what it's like. I know how hard it is. So if I can do something to help you with that, I will. That's just what I'm about. And by being that, other guys have surrounded themselves with me because they're the same way, and they like to as well. So, if you're ever in a hard place, we're a good group to be a part of, because that support is there. And I don't want to see you go through it. And if you're there, hey, we've all been to hell. I've spent so much time in hell, I can draw you a roadmap and give you every single exit out and show you the shortest way. So when you're there, give me a call. I can help you get out. And there we go. I'm getting a call right now over on the I don't know how to stop that from ringing, but anyhow, such is life. Welcome to it. The joys of going live and being a small channel and not having assistance. My phone sometimes rings. So, and I guess he's probably not watching, but he's a friend of mine, and he's had a hard day, a very difficult day. And I'll be spending a lot of time on the phone with him probably this evening and the next couple of days going through it. But moving forward from that, with all of this, the one thing that it's helped me do is, even though I've been through all the shit that I've been through, and there's no other way to describe it other than shit, it really is. I've done pretty well at putting the past behind me and burying it. But I kind of realized this weekend that that's part of the problem. I've buried it. So Sorry, it's a little bit emotional. I learned how to take that stuff from burying it and set it down and walk away. Uh, Emotional because I literally am a lot lighter and I feel a lot less weight on my shoulders. Um, Simply put, this weekend was life changing for me. It really was. It's one of the sayings that God is life will never be the same. And going forward, it won't be. I know it won't be. So, um, this isn't a sales pitch for the one in November. I just hope that, the people that are in my life that could really benefit from this would, do what they can to try and make sure they're there to help themselves out. And so we can help them out as well. Um, Trying to think of some other stuff. There was so much information. I mean, it's drinking from a fire hose, largely. Um, so, one of the aspects is that I speak about all the time is learning how to become, an emotional master, being a master of your emotions. And like I've said many times, a master of your emotions doesn't mean you're devoid of emotions. If you're devoid of emotions, you're lying to yourself. And if you're lying to yourself about this, give me a call. We'll talk about your lying problem. We all have it. There's just no two ways about it. So, but it's learning the skills and how to do it, which this part I've gotten pretty good at. And I probably gained a few little tricks that I didn't really know before, maybe even be better at it, of how to allow those emotions to hit me, absorb them, understand that they're going to affect me, I'm personally down to the point where I can pretty much breathe it out in 5 seconds and let almost anything go in 5 seconds. Um, and I never thought of this before because I have dealt with so much shit and I've gone through it. I've gotten really good at it and I've narrowed it down to that 5 to maybe 10 seconds. But in the beginning, it wasn't that long. And I sort of forgot that. And this was a bit of a wake up call to that is, in this, they teach that, when something hits you really hard and really heavy, allow yourself 90 seconds to let it hit you, feel it, process that, let it go through you, and then release it, put yourself back into a good state, and then move forward and deal with the problem from there. And I kind of forgot that it took, in all reality, the crap I dealt with, it took minutes, multiple minutes in the beginning. I've got it down to the point now that, like I said, I can deal with almost anything in roughly 5 to 10 seconds. But, that's a process and it's a muscle and you're going to build it up and you're going to get stronger as you go and it'll become faster and easier. But if you have a problem with that, there's another reason to, join the community is been there, done that, dealt with that. We'll walk you through that. And so is Travis and he's a member of my community and I'm very, very grateful to have him. He's a wonderful person. Getting to spend these 4 days with him was fantastic. He's a great friend and I truly appreciate him and everything that he did. Hosting me at his house and, and attending this event and whatnot. It was, I don't know how else to say it other than to publicly say it here is thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, man. Uh, uh, well, yeah, there's a good one. Comment just popping up. What about when it hits you and takes you a week and brings your health down? Well, I'm not a teacher or instructor of this in any way, shape, or form. So take what I say with a great big load of shit because I'm largely full of shit. But I'm full of pretty good shit. So, this is something I need to stop myself from doing. And I learned that as well is words have power. When you say these things, your subconscious mind hears them and believes them. So, and that's where I'm going with this as part of it. It is you'll start to understand. And one of the big things we learned is state of being, which involves emotional mastery and also involves just everything. A big thing of it is, and I know that. I myself have known that because, as you guys are aware, I've shared it many times. I lost a shit ton of weight, a literal metric shit ton of weight. I used to weigh just about 250 pounds, a couple pounds shy of 250 pounds. Got down to just under 170 when I leaned right out when I was somewhat considering getting on stage to bodybuild. Never went that far, but I've since put a little back on because I'm trying to build some more muscle and summer's coming. So it's time to start leaning back down again. But yeah, That's exactly right. And that's where I'm getting to. Thanks for putting it in there. I forgot the phrase exactly. So when you're thinking of this, so a big thing with losing the weight is I got to the point I could move around more. I could be more active. And I can tell you this, I'm well aware of it from being a 250-pound fat guy to being right now I'm 185 pounds, 186 pounds at about 20% body fat. And I swear to God, I can kick my 35-year-old ass with one arm tied behind my back while I'm laughing. And you can pick the arm, doesn't really matter. That's how much of a difference it makes. That translates into everything in life. When you're able to move more freely like that, you'll move naturally, which is going to help produce the good endorphins, the stuff that gets released in your brain. There's another word for it. I can't think of it. Dopamine. The dopamine hit. Learning to go through this, you can actually induce these dopamine hits in your brain by yourself without being stimulated by your phone or something like this. You can learn to put yourself in that state of mind, that state of being. And this is the phrase they use is where focus goes, energy flows. And that's exactly right. When you can learn to focus on it, you can focus your attention very, 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 very acutely on the problem. You can solve it very quickly. And when you do that, especially when you have the ability to first remove the emotion, then focus on the problem. When you remove the emotion and you can focus on the problem very acutely, you can solve the problem very quickly. You can take that problem, you now have the solution. You can take that problem and put it off to the side, and you can very quickly change your state of being, your state of mind, and put yourself back there. And a lot of it has to do literally with your physical being, how you are, your posture and all of that. And there's one thing I can tell you is, like, even the little bit of extra weight that I'm carrying right now, my posture isn't as good as it was when I was 18 pounds lighter. And I'm in pretty decent shape. Not perfect, but pretty decent shape. And this makes a difference. So, stretching, just a little bit of movement. Like the one thing we did, it was 4 days of 12 to 14 hours a day, every day, 4 days straight. And you think, how can you go that long and not get tired? Well, you do get a little bit fatigued, but a big part of it is constantly moving. So you should be drinking water constantly, which I do all the time anyways. And I haven't really promoted or preached that. I generally drink a gallon of water a day or more. And drinking that much water is good for you. And that's water. That's not coffee. So you should be doing that when you get out of bed. You should be drinking at least half a liter to 3/4 of a liter of water right off the bat to rehydrate yourself, because as you're sleeping, you are going to expel some hydration and you're going to dry out a little bit. So you need to put that back in right away when you wake up and get moving. Like don't just get out of bed, like get out of bed, stand up, stand straight, pull your shoulders back, drop your shoulder blades into the sockets where they should be. Get yourself back there. You'll actually feel them. Stand up straight, roll your hips forward, and feel that, kind of an anchor point or something in your chest, like pulling you up, and feel that, and you'll feel better. You'll feel better about yourself. And when you start to do this, I'm not going to be able to, I don't have the time to break it down just in this show, but basically the way it works is slouch your shoulders forward and do all of this. Your biochemistry plays a big part in this. So your lungs are triangle shaped. So literally 50% of your lung volume is in the bottom 1/3 of your lungs. When you bend over like this, you're compressing the largest part of your lungs. This part you can't compress. It's behind your rib cage. It is what it is. It stays what it is. But when you do this, your belly and everything else starts to compress that bottom part of your lungs. They can't take the air in. When you can't take the air in, you don't take the oxygen. When you starve yourself of oxygen, it affects everything. Your body's got to work harder to live and function and all of that stuff. And it's going to take away from your mental ability to, handle your emotions, to deal with your stresses and deal with that stuff. So, standing up straight will make a huge difference. That little bit of standing up straight will give you roughly 15 to 20% more oxygen. And you get that much more in, you're going to feel better. If you haven't been doing it for a while, if you've been a hunchback or whatever for a while and you start doing it, you might start to feel a little bit lightheaded. a little bit euphoric. It's because oxygen is a good thing. Very much is. Hyperventilate and you'll start to feel lightheaded and all of that. That euphoric feeling that is, an overflow and a rush of oxygen, and it's not a bad thing. But when you do that, literally put yourself in that position. Like seriously, stand up right now. Everybody who's watching this, I'm not kidding you. Stand up right now and put yourself in that position. Roll your hips forward because all of us sit too much. So our hips are naturally tilted back. Our pelvis is tilted back. So roll that fucker forward. Like literally roll your hips forward, pull your shoulders back, drop your shoulder blades in the sockets where they're supposed to be, stand straight and feel that. And it's just start to lean yourself forwards ever so slightly. And you'll literally, in a very small shift, you'll feel the difference. So when you're not feeling, when you're feeling like you're in a down state, think about that. All you have to do is go that much further back to increase that much more of your airflow and your oxygen. And when you stand like that, your body naturally is in alignment and it feels better and your brain's going to work better. It's all tied together. Like all of this stuff is all tied together. So, and a lot of us have jobs where we sit around all day. I work on a freaking computer all day long. I've implemented that now the last couple of days where I've got a reminder on my phone every hour to get up and move. And so every hour I get up and just shake it out, move around a little bit and get things going. And you go to this event, I'm going to tell you this, you're going to sweat your ass off. Yeah, Travis has put it up there, which thanks, by the way. Yeah, the difference is literally 2 millimeters. And it literally is. You get yourself, standing straight and in that peak state where, I feel good and I'm proud. Like, you can see it just the way I'm standing right now. It doesn't take very much. Like, that's like a 2 millimeter shift in my chest. And there's a massive difference in the way I look. Like, that's it. That's all it is right there. That's the difference. You put yourself in that place. And I know it and I feel it when I'm walking around because there's times I catch myself like that where I'm doing the same thing and I'm kind of like, stop that, And since I've lost the weight, I've worked on posture because my posture sucked when I was fat. Which if you're overweight, it's going to. It's just your belly's going to pull you forward. It's going to be hard to have good posture. So it kind of all ties in. But you do that little bit and it makes all the difference in the world. And you'll start feeling it, and yeah, our words literally, they do. He's dumping all the comments in here. I appreciate it very much. Our words literally change your biochemistry. So, no more negative thoughts. Like, I'm serious. No negative thoughts about yourself. Just think about this. Every one of you, I've almost every one of you who's watching, it's not like I have a huge viewership. I probably know or have talked to every person who's watching me right now, at some point or another. Stop with the negative thoughts. Every one of you is a blessing and a gift to be here. Think about that. This wasn't part of the thing, but I'll put it this way. When a man ejaculates with a woman to make a baby, he literally produces enough to, start a civilization. Luckily, the woman only has one egg and we're not doing a civilization every time we get off. But if you think about it, you're one out of a civilization. Man or woman, doesn't matter. You are one out of a civilization. You're already a miracle being here. Think about that. You're already a goddamn miracle being here. Remind yourself that. No matter where you're at, no matter how you're feeling, no matter what it is, you're fucking special. Literally, you probably beat out 2 billion others just like you. So you're one out of 2 billion. Think about that. Hold yourself to that standard too. Like, you're one out of 2 billion. You kick the shit out of, 1.9999999 billion of them. Make sure you're still doing that today. If one of those guys could literally miraculously all of a sudden be here today, would it be acceptable if he kicked your ass? You've already beat him. You better still be able to kick his ass. So, think about that. Yeah, that's a great one. Let me throw that up there. Travis put it in. Thank you very much, Travis. Is an example. Change your buts to and watch what happens. Well, I'd like to do this, but, no. I'd like to do that, and I'm going to find a way to make it happen. You just start talking to yourself like this, and you'll start to find things that all of a sudden, I'd like to do that, remove but. It doesn't exist in my vocabulary anymore. It's and. I'd like to do that, and I'm going to have to see if I can find a way. You know what's going to happen? You're going to start to look at all the stuff you've got to do, and you're going to go, that's not as important. I'm going to put that off to the side, and I'm going to do this because I should do it. Change your butts to an and watch what happens. Like these little things will make all the difference in the world, where you're at and where you're going. A lot of great comments in here tonight. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So I think I've dropped the join link in the chat. If I haven't, I'm going to do it again. Just did it again. So if anybody wants to call in, but it doesn't matter, all this stuff. Like, just think of how much of an advantage that is. Like I know I've said, and I guess I've taken it for granted, and kind of realized as a part of this process is that it's a bit of a blessing. Like, I've gone through some horrific shit in my life. I'm not going to drag it back up. There's not going to be a wow party, is what it is. It's in the past and I've moved on. But through that, I've learned to deal with things on a fairly rapid pace. Stuff hits me every now and then. It takes a little bit longer to get through, but generally speaking, I get through most stuff fairly quickly. And I kind of take it for granted. And being able to work through this stuff is a blessing. It really is. I kind of lost my train of thought of where I was going on this. Give me a moment. It's probably not going to come back because, sleep deprived for 4 days, 5 days, and trying to catch up on work while I'm home as well. But like these things will make, major differences in your life. Like the ability to wash stuff off, make a decision quickly, and move forward. I'll let they go past you and literally walk past it. Think of how much better that's going to make your life. You get something comes in and bam, you've got a problem and shit. You got to sit there and you got to think about it. It takes you 15, 20 minutes to work through it. Build that muscle up to the point that, this really sucks. I'm going to give myself 90 seconds to absorb these emotions. This sucks, pisses me off. F this, screw that, the hell with them. I really don't care. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Okay, all that's starting to pass now. All right, I see their point. I kind of did this wrong. They did that wrong. I'm not 100% right. They're not 100% right, because we all have accountability and everything. Very rarely is something 100% black one way and 100% white the other. There's always shades of gray in the middle. You get to that point, you realize, okay, I made a mistake. They made a mistake. And I understand that they're human. They're going to make mistakes every day. Whether they believe that or not doesn't really matter. When you get to the point you realize you're going to make mistakes every single day of your life, you start to realize everybody else around you is too. So all of a sudden, it's not a big deal when they do. And here's a big one. And I've done this without having the words or realizing it. It was one of the things I learned this weekend is don't live your life with expectation. Because when you live your life with expectation, nothing is ever going to get met 100%, because your expectation of everything should be just like this. Somebody can come along and do it, and that one piece is slightly out, and they're not going to meet your expectations. And you're going to dwell on that rather than the rest that was like that. So don't live your life with expectations. Literally let expectations go and be appreciative. Live your life in appreciation of the things that have come to you. And all of a sudden, letting go of that shit becomes an awful lot easier, because now your expectations doesn't matter. There's no expectations there to be met. So you're not let down by your expectations not being met. You're able to let that go, and you appreciate that, okay, these guys came in and did the job at, 85, 90% of what I wanted. I appreciate that, because they could have come in with a half-ass effort and done, 50%, and then I'd be in there having to redo it. But 85%, it's good enough. Hey, we'll take that. We'll move on. And this is an opportunity for me to show the guys, tell them I appreciate them. Hey guys, thanks a lot. You guys did a really good job. You did everything like this. There was this one little piece, but that's not a big issue. You got it all the way right. The job got done. This is our weakness. We need to work on this and get a little bit better. Now you're encouraging your team. You're encouraging them to take ownership because you rewarded them for all the good that they did. There was a good example of this. I never had this. I didn't raise kids, so never went through this stuff. But, for those of you that have, when you're raising your little one and they start walking and getting around, shortly after that, what's the next thing that comes along? Potty training. Never really thought that. Yeah. Thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate that. 8 viewers, only 4 likes. Do me a favor, smash the like button. It's absolutely free. I'd appreciate it. Not expecting it. I just damn well appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Share it with somebody who you think can get something out of this. It's all about empowering ourselves. That's where we're going. That's the direction we're moving. But anyhow, back to, the potty training. The first time your little one goes along, gets on the toilet and goes to the bathroom, and they get most of it in, but there's a couple of drops and stuff like that along the way, and they're a kid. They're learning, right? Do you say, they get off, they're all proud. Look at me, daddy. Look at me, mommy. Like, I went potty. Do you go, well, that's great that you went potty, but you kind of did a shitty job. There's like 4 or 5 drops on the floor. There's a little bit on the seat. Like, you didn't do it perfect. What the hell? No. Nobody would do this to the kid. They'd be appreciative. Hey, Johnny, way to go. Susie, way to go. You got 80% of it in the toilet. There's just a little bit to clean up. Fantastic. Think about this. Be appreciative, because now you don't have to deal with diapers anymore. You're getting closer to not even have to deal with anything anymore. Be appreciative of it rather than the expectations. When you're at that point, all of a sudden, just life is better. You're just happier. It's a good way to be. And so when you live in that state, you're just going to have less stress. When you got less stress, problems are easier to deal with because you've got more mental bandwidth. You're not dealing with bullshit you don't have to deal with. And we all deal with enough of that. Another big part of that, I don't have my notes in front of me, forgive me. And Travis is in the chat, so I'm hoping he'll note off the top of his head. But there was a young guy that came out to do a speech, and this is something that really hit me. It was towards the end. And it was amazing. This guy was born with no legs and only one arm. Think about that. Was born with no legs and only one arm. If anybody has the right to say, well, I can't do it because look at me, what, really? Because he lives his life with, don't worry about the things that you have to do. Just never look at life as, oh, well, I have to go outside and take my dog for a walk. I have to go. There we go. And I can't pronounce it. Nick Stantiascio, Google him. This will blow your freaking mind away. I'm sure he's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, God only knows what, where. Give this dude a follow. He deserves it. There's just no two ways about it. Like I said, he was born no legs, one arm. And his entire philosophy in life is, if you're complaining about the stuff that you have to do, kiss my ass, because he's only got one arm and no legs. Those are things you get to do. He doesn't get to take his dog for a walk. He doesn't get to do a bunch of those things. And by the way, this guy will kick your ass all day long. He gets around. This guy walks on his own without legs, without a wheelchair, with one arm. He jumps up and down on the stage with no legs and one arm. I shit you not. So if you're sitting around going, oh, I have to do it, kiss my ass, this guy will kick your ass all day long and twice on Sundays. And he'll do it with no arms and no hands tied behind his back because he'll only need the one to kick your ass, and he will. Like, it was very inspiring. Like, and that's exactly how it is. He plays football with his brothers. On top of that, when he was in high school, here's the whole thing of, kiss my ass with the whole, oh, well, I have to do and I have to. No. When he was in high school, he decided he wanted to be a wrestler. As you can imagine, I'm quite sure he had a lot of people go, what? You see the problem here, right? Well, he had to overcome some obstacles. I'm not going to tell his story. Go watch it. I shit you not. You have to go watch it. I don't want to tell his story because I want you to go watch it because he deserves it. End of discussion. But he did what he had to do, and he made the wrestling team in school with one arm, no legs. So there's no, oh, I have to. You get to. Like, think about the adversity this guy's had to overcome. Like, you want to be inspired, just go watch something by him. Make sure you bring along some Kleenex because you're probably going to cry your eyes out. I know I did. But at the end of the day, it's going to be inspiring as hell. I'm trying to remember what he is. He decided he wanted to be a bodybuilder, you know, later on in life when he was done school and whatnot, and he wanted to be a bodybuilder. And he told that story, and kind of people like, you see the problem with this, right? He didn't care. He showed pictures of his transformation in 12 weeks. Spectacular, unbelievable. The guy was ripped, and he did it with one arm and nothing else. Because his whole thing, he's funny, plays his humor into it. Is like everybody's like, how are you going to be a bodybuilder? Like, you don't have any legs. He says, who cares? Most bodybuilders skip leg day anyway, so I'll fit right in. Like, this is his attitude. Is there's no downside. It's all upside. He's going to find a way. He's going to figure it out. You live life like this, and it's just easier and more happy. And that's a lot of what I learned as far as business and stuff goes with that as well. It's the phrase that Travis has introduced to us before that I've mentioned a couple of times, and I've got it on a sticky note on my other computer sitting beside this one right here. And the phrase says proximity is power. And what that means is exactly that. Surrounding yourself with the people who are going to get you where you want to go. Find people who are at the place that you want to be in life. Ask them how they got there. Ask them if they can help you get there. You're going to probably have, it's going to be an exchange of value of some kind, because they're going to take time and they're going to compress it. Might have taken them 15 years to learn it, and they might be able to teach it to you in 6 months. Think about that. You're saving 14 and a half years. That's an awful lot of value, and these are the sorts of people that I'm going to be surrounding myself going forward with in my life. I already do surround myself with people like this. I'm going to reach out and get a hold of some people at an even higher level, because I want people who are going to hold me to an even higher standard, which means this thing is only going to get better, which means joining my community now is something you want to do, because it's only going to get better. And that's all there is to it. This is the direction we're going. And come hell or high water, one way or another, we're going to get there, because I'm going to put myself in the vicinity of people who are going to help get me there. Actually, I had a conversation with a guy today who has a very big following, very similar to what I do. And he likes what I've done. I really like what he's done. And, he's not far away. We're going to actually get together. We're going to strategize. He's going to help me put together a strategy for myself and my channel and community and stuff going forward, because he's done it. As you guys know, I'm part of Rich Cooper's as well. But this guy's done it at a different level and in a different direction. And I like kind of what he's doing. Rich's thing is very much, red pill and, 1%er in that way. These guys are a little more, at least a little more my style, so to speak, something like that. I like that stuff. I like Rich's stuff. I like the people in there. Friends with a bunch of them, and but there's good chemistry with this guy. So you can never be a part of too many networking communities as long as they're all good and they're all going to help you grow. And he's a good one, so I'm going to start moving some of that, getting his help to move my channel and my group forward. Is some of the things that we're going to do. And like I said, moving forward with the whole empowering thing of each other, and holding each other to a higher standard. Like, that's literally going to be the thing going forward. If you're in my group and you don't want to be held to a higher standard, you might want to get out, because the standards are about to go up. And I'm going to ask the people in there to hold me to a higher standard as well, because I want to do more. I want to contribute more. Like I said, I've got a calling that I want to achieve. Means I'm going to have to do more than I already am to get there. And that's what I have to do. Then that's what I have to do. And that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's a great one. Never be afraid to ask. The only stupid question is the one you don't ask. That's correct. And with that, I would also say, never be afraid to ask, because the person you're afraid to ask is probably the person who will help you the most. Especially if it's somebody you think, oh, this guy's so far ahead. I can't bother him. I can't ask him. If this guy has figured that much stuff out and he can compress it, trust me, he's going to want to share that knowledge. When you have worked hard at something and you've learned something and you've figured it out, you want to share it. Now, you maybe don't want to just give it away to everybody, because a lot of people aren't going to do anything with it, or they'll rip it off and they'll steal it and they'll print it for themselves and whatnot. So you're selective about who you share it with, which is why you should never be afraid to ask. Because when you take that initiative, you've shown you're not one of those people, and you'll probably get the help you're looking for. So, when you're surrounding yourself with people, to get you where you want to go and at a higher level, make sure you're surrounding yourself with the best there is, the best you possibly can get access to, and get there. And but don't just stay there. Understand that once you get to that point, be looking for the next level. Be looking to, like, you know, to get in with some of these very, very high end coaches. I know what they are and what they charge. They charge $1 million a year. I would love to do that. I do that right now today if I had $1 million. Well, I don't. So it's out of my reach. So I am surrounding myself with people that are in a range that I can afford to exchange value with and improve myself and take that value to then go to the next level and do it again, you know, and I'm more than willing to do that with other people too. So, like, it's part of the reason why I say come along and get with us, because, uh, yeah. Uh, Anyhow, just trying to think of some other things to wrap up. So the last day of the thing, I'm sure I'm missing like 90% of it. The last day was about health, food, uh, fitness, that sort of thing, all of that, and tying it together. And as someone who has traveled North America as extensively as I have, I recognize a bunch of it. They talk about the poor state of uh, the food and nutrition and whatnot. And I'm not going to really get into that, but I know that's one thing in my community and a couple of the communities that I'm in with. Quite a few guys have mentioned it's actually a running theme and a running problem is um, guys who are concerned about their weight and their fitness and their overall health and it not being where they want to be. I'm not going to break all this down because I am not an expert. I'll certainly share what I know, but I'm not going to share it publicly in this forum where I got people who are going to blast me 6 ways from Sunday because I'm not an expert and I don't have a degree and blah, blah, blah. You don't necessarily have to have that to know how this stuff works. So, the guys who are in my community that have a problem with that, by all means, I want you to talk to me. We're going to talk about it. I'll share the knowledge I've got. A bunch of it I already knew anyway. I didn't know. How do I say this? I knew like 80% of it, but there was the little details that went along with it that I didn't know and understand at the time. That was like, oh, okay. Well, I knew that worked, but I didn't necessarily know the reason why. I now know the reason why. Or if not, I know where to send you to find the reason why and to be able to figure this stuff out and whatnot. So I know that's always a running thing with guys, generally speaking. I mean, let's face it. What is it? 90% or something like that of the population of North America is, overweight. What is it? 60% or something like that is obese. It's crazy. So, it's not hard to put yourself out of that and be in that top 10% of guys in the level of fitness. It really isn't. A little bit of, mentality shift, a little bit of knowledge. That'd be the first thing. Get the knowledge to understand the mentality shift to then put it into action and get the results that you want. When you have those things and you can put them together in order, it's all of a sudden it's not very difficult to achieve. And that's the same thing with business. Like, I'm not kidding you guys. The stuff they talked about, like, to them it was a joke. Like, well, if you're doing a business and you're at level X and you want the 10X, well, that's no big deal. We know how to do that. We do that all day long. So come get in with us and we'll help you get there. And these are the steps you take to get there. And the steps they take and they break them down, they know how to get there and they know how to help you get there and give you the tools you need. Travis has done an advanced course, the business level in this, and he showed me some of the stuff that they did with him, the building his business plan to grow his business and whatnot. And when you see it laid out like that, it's like, oh, you're right. That's not very difficult to do. But when you don't understand how it is, you don't know how to lay it out, you don't know how to build that roadmap to get there. And that's the best way to put it is it's not a plan, it's a roadmap. And the reason it's a roadmap is, you can create, trust me, I've been in business since 94. I started my business in 1994 and I wrote a business plan. I had to put it together for the bank to go get financing to buy my first piece of equipment to start my business. I had this wonderful business plan. I spent weeks on it. It was beautiful. Everything was laid out. Week 3, it went out the window. So, a business plan is bullshit. And anybody who tells you have to have one clearly doesn't understand that they don't work. An accountant will tell you need a business plan. because the accountant wants to sell you a business plan so you can go to the bank and get the financing because they know how to make it look good for the bank. But, a business roadmap is knowing, okay, I'm here. I want to get here. It's not a direct route from one to the other. There's no direct route. It's going to be a path that goes something like this that will eventually lead around and get you where you want to go. It will never be a clear-cut plan, never be a clear-cut path. So that's where having the people around you. So when all of a sudden it zigs left when it was supposed to go right, because, and it's now not on your plan, shit, what the hell do I do? When you've surrounded yourself with the right people, you can go, okay, the plan went left. We were supposed to go right. I don't know what's going on, but this is what's going on. Here's where we're at. Okay, cool. Let's adjust it. Awesome. Give me your numbers. What's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on here? Okay, well, here's your problem. We need to fix this so you can get back on track to that and get yourself back over here. And you can get there faster. Your route might look like this. There never was a direct path. So don't worry that it looks like this. It's going to. Success is like the stock market. You ever look at the stocks? They go up. Look at Bitcoin's rise to what, $80-some thousand. Like it went, up. Like nothing ever goes straight up. The stock market has never gone straight up in history. It's gone up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's constantly going up over time. And that's where a roadmap is better than a plan, because a plan is linear and isn't going to deal with those jagged line crosses, because you're going to cross the plan. You're going to do better at times. You're going to do worse at times. You can do better at times. You can do worse at times. And being able to navigate those and help yourself through those, that's invaluable. And surrounding yourself with the right people to get that, all of a sudden it's easy. It literally is. Like, I've just begun this and I can see that it's easy. Now, when I say that it's easy, I don't mean that, oh, cool, I'm going to be a multimillionaire in 6 weeks. No, it's hard damn work. There's an awful lot of work between here and here, but I'm going to get here. I have no idea what the route's going to look like. Probably like one of my trips, back with the 20-foot wide load out of Texas, where, I literally crossed Texas 5 times. I shit you not. And I literally mean I shit you not. I have taken 20-foot loads out of Eagle Pass, Texas, which is on the Mexican border. I loaded a load there one time that was 20 feet wide. We got that load loaded, tied down, and I was on the road at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I drove all day until sunset that night at 8 o'clock at night. And I parked 50 miles away from where I loaded. But I made progress. And that's what a business plan and a life plan is going to look like. You're going to go out of the way to get where you want to go. So you've got to be able to make sure you know what you're doing, and you have people around you to advise you to allocate the resources to get you through those patches, because you're going to get there. And sometimes you're going to work all goddamn day to go 50 miles. The next day, you're going to go 500. That's just how it works. And that's how business works. That's how life works. And having people around you to help you get that 50 miles and go, okay, you put in 10 hours, you got 50 miles. All right, but tomorrow we're going to get 500. And they'll help you get there, and they'll help you get through that stuff. And that's the whole point of community, and surrounding yourself with people and asking the questions, like, am I doing the right thing? Are things on track? And having the people around you who hold you to those higher standards of, expect you to raise your expectations of yourself. I said, don't live your life with expectations. I mean that with others. Having expectations of yourself is one thing. Don't do it with others. And understand that your expectations are probably never really going to truly be met. And other times, your expectations are just too goddamn low, and you're going to blow them away. And literally, that's what it's all about. And that's what this is about, what we're going to do. So anyhow, with that, I've been yammering on for damn near an hour for a guy who literally prepared with nothing. I prepared with 4 days and walked in the door, hooked the computer up, went to the bathroom, had a drink of water, and hit go live. That was the prep for today's show. So I hope you got something out of it. It's actually how I've done the last few shows. Kind of feeling like I'm in that place where I'm comfortable enough now, just literally riffing on things. So if there's anything you guys want me to talk about or stuff you want to know about or, shit I've gone through in my life or business experience or whatnot like that, if you want to know it, do me a favor, drop it in the chat, send the questions, ask them, find me on Facebook, send me a message, something like that, ask questions. And I'm more than happy to do a subject, do a show on a subject if it's something I know about. If it's not, I'll maybe try and do some research on it. If it's out of my wheelhouse, I'll see if I can find a guest and bring them on, which is something I'm trying to do more of now. I've kind of done that last little bit. Not a big enough channel to attract really big guests, but I'm starting to get a few guys who are interested. Actually had somebody with a much bigger channel reach out to me. Like I said, the guy I spoke with, and he's interested in what I'm doing. And we've expressed interest in maybe helping each other out and doing each other's show from time to time. And he's got a pretty big following. So hopefully that would help and would help boost me. And like I said, do me a favor, smash that like button. I'm asking, literally, costs you nothing to hit that like button, costs you nothing to subscribe, and costs you nothing to share it with somebody. Even if they send you a PFO, who cares? Just do me a favor and send it off. I'm trying to give you guys the, as much value as I can. All I ask in return is you share it with somebody else. If we can help somebody, fantastic. That's all I'm looking for. Literally, that's all I'm looking for. I'm just looking to help people out however we can do it one way or another. So anyhow, like I say, that kind of wraps up my night for this. We're going to go to the after show, our Zoom, where we talk a few more things that we can't talk about publicly on YouTube and say some words we can't get away with very well on here. Mind you, I say most of them anyways, but there's some I can't say, and kind of talk about the direction of what we want to do going forward, the direction I see this thing going, and the people that I've surrounded myself with, and literally the things that I'm going to be looking for from them and out of them. So, and holy crap, we're wrapping it up and I'm at the most amount of people watching. Just how it goes. So anyhow, thank you very much for joining, guys. I really appreciate that. And ladies, if there's any ladies in the crowd, looks like it was an all guy night tonight, according to the comments, but you never know. My demographic, I get more women than I actually thought I would. I was quite surprised by that, but anyhow, which it doesn't matter. I'm more interested in talking to the guys anyhow. I don't really give a crap about the women part, which you guys know. I just don't talk about it. It's just life. And if you want to talk about that, send me a request. I do the odd show, and I mean odd. I'm not going to do them all. I do the odd show on that sort of stuff. I can share some stuff that I know, and some of it might be hilarious. It's actually a direction I've realized lately a lot of guys have trouble in, and I have a different take on it than a lot of people. Maybe it resonates with you. Maybe it doesn't. Whatever. Like I say, I'm not going to do all my stuff on that, all my content on that. I know it attracts a lot of viewers, attracts a lot of eyeballs. It doesn't necessarily give the help that I want to give. I've actually got somebody I'm just going to start working with on that, on the personal side, on the personal front, not on this. He's asked for my help in that, which kind of blew my mind away. And he's helped me with some business stuff because he knows business really well. And that part of his life is in shambles. And to me, it's easy. So I'm going to help with that. And to him, business is easy. So he's going to help me with that exchange of value. So with any luck, I can convince him to come to our community and maybe share some of his business insight and help us with that going forward. So anyhow, with that, I'm signing off. I'm going to go to the bathroom and fire up the Zoom and meet with the boys afterwards and have our private chat. So have yourselves a great night. I know I'm going to. If you're rewatching the show, fast forward the first minute and a half. I forgot to hit the mute button on the microphone again. Wasn't on this one last week. Last week was the weird one from Travis's coach, which was fun. It was cool to do. Thanks again, Travis, for doing it with me. That was cool. Last minute pop on. So anyhow, we'll catch you guys later. Have a good night.